Hello friends, Eddie here. Today I want to talk about the recent pay increase from companies to their drivers. A couple of weeks ago, two bigger companies made the news by opening up their wallets in an effort to retain and attract new truck drivers. As a lot of us know, there's a big shortage of drivers in the industry right now. Probably sure about 280,000 drivers as we speak. That's a big number, 280,000. Just about Monday of this week, two other companies made the headlines by opening their wallets again. One of these companies, based out of Washington State, took a different route from the norm of the trucking industry and their pay methods. Usually, drivers are paid per mile, cents per mile. I would say the average, depending on experience, is from 42 cents to 46 cents. Well, this company based out of Washington State decided to go a different route, and it's now paying their drivers a fixed annual salary. They actually disclosed the number, and it's $65,000 a year. That's a decent salary for anyone. Plus bonuses and other compensations. I'm sure if they drivers hit X amount of miles a year, whether it's 100,000 or whatever the number might be, they might get other incentives and other compensations. I personally think the industry is going to move that way, and by that way I mean to a annual fixed salary. I believe that people always like to see the bigger number, and when you do cents per mile, it doesn't look as big, even though it could add up at the end of the year. It could be even more. It doesn't seem as much as a fixed annual salary. I also think a lot of people are used to that, to fixed annual salaries, because in other most industries, it's a fixed salary that people get paid. So, through a recent survey to carriers, 80% of carriers believe that with a $75,000 fixed salary, annual fixed salary, we can, and I say we as an industry, can attract and retain drivers where we can turn this issue around. I like to believe that's true. I think $75,000 is a very comfortable and lofty salary for anyone, especially to start off, and then you have to, you can add bonuses and other compensations on top of that, and it could add up to a decent amount. Also, with that number, it gives drivers and people a set number of how much they're going to bring home every paycheck, so they can add up their expenses, they can go different routes and figure things out, and know they're not going to be short, and it won't be so much based on their performance and how many miles they drive and how much they have to do to meet those expenses and bills. You give that set number, and they know how much they can expend and how much they can save, and it gives them a little more flexibility. So that's another reason I think the industry might actually go that route sooner than later. With that being said, obviously with anything else, it's going to raise some questions, and a couple of questions I believe it's going to raise. One is, are all carriers willing to pay that much per driver? Another question is, can the smaller carriers afford to pay that much per driver? We have to remember that majority of the industry is made up of fleets from one truck to, let's say, 500. So can they afford to pay that? Can they, and stay in business? That's something that we have to research and work on and find out. And the other thing it's a personal opinion, I think the oil industry is actually the biggest competitor that the freight industry is facing as far as retaining and attracting new drivers. The pay there is better. I know firsthand because I have immediate family that's invested and worked at the oil fields and has had a fleet of trucks actually at the oil fields. So I know firsthand how things work down there and what the pay is like. And honestly, it's actually better. So I think we have to also consider that and think about that. And a lot of their drivers actually go home a little more often or actually closer to home. So that's also something to consider. They do work more hours, and I think the restrictions at the oil fields are not as strict or enforced as they are for the freight industry, which is, in a way, it's a shame because let's think about it. The chair you're sitting on right now, or the stool, or the phone that you have in your hand at one point was in a truck. So this country moves on trucking. So hopefully that's something that the Fed takes notice of and helps. Safety is number one, but we also have to think of everybody else involved as a whole. So just wanted to touch on a little bit on the recent pay increase for truck drivers. As a broker, I kind of like capacity to be tight, not too tight, but tight, because it forces all the people involved to be more diligent and keep up with their let's say end of the bargain for things to go smooth. So hopefully in the next few months we can get some drivers on board, loosen capacity up a little bit, not too much, but and it's good for the economy, for everyone, and just like always, I want to thank you for watching. If you found some value in this, share it with a colleague, a friend, family member, comment, subscribe, like, and I'll be back here next week with some more content. And like always, we're here to serve you, and God bless.